All right, diving in again today. And this time, we're going to tackle a story that I think most people know, at least a little bit. But there's a lot to unpack, a lot more than meets the eye. You know, Adam and Eve.
Absolutely.
We've got the Wikipedia article, of course, got to have that. But also this really interesting article, A Woman and the Devil, which looks at some recurring themes, some connections that are kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Oh, yeah. Some really thought-provoking stuff.
And then, got to throw this in the mix, we're going to look at some stuff from Jesse Lee Peterson. And he's always good for, well, strong opinion anyway.
Yes, he definitely doesn't shy away from controversy.
Not at all. So I guess to set the stage for anyone who maybe slept through Sunday school, Adam and Eve, they're not just some cute little story. Right?
No, not at all. We're talking like foundational stuff here. Abrahamic religions, huge impact on Western culture, how we view humanity, good and evil, sin. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, and like right from the start, even how they were created. There's two different versions in Genesis, right?
Right. You've got one where they're created together, male and female, in God's image.
Together equals the whole shebang.
Exactly. And then you have the other one where Adam's formed from dust and Eve comes from his rib.
Yeah, that rib thing always makes me wonder, like, how much does that play into how people see their roles?
Oh, for sure. It sparked so much debate, you know?
Yeah.
Eve being connected to Adam, maybe dependent on him, even a sense of being less than. It's all right there.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so big picture. Garden of Eden paradise, right? Adam and Eve, they're living the good life. No worries. Totally clueless.
Blissful ignorance, you could say.
Exactly. Then, of course, we've got the forbidden tree of knowledge, and that snake. Always got to have a snake.
Oh, yeah, the serpent slithering in with temptation.
And Eve, she takes a bite, shares with Adam, and bam, eyes wide open.
Suddenly, they see everything differently. They're naked, they feel shame, good and evil, it all comes crashing down on them.
Yeah, and that's it. Paradise lost, they get kicked out, punishments all around. Painful childbirth for Eve. Adam's got to work his tail off. The serpent slithering on his belly.
That's a pretty bleak picture, you know?
No kidding. But here's the thing. It doesn't actually say Eve tempted Adam.
Right. That's one of those things people just assume.
Yeah. Some people think it was a joint decision. They were both curious, wanted knowledge, the whole deal. But then you've got, like Tertullian back in the day, early church father, and he was harsh.
Oh, tell me about it. The Devil's Gateway, that's what he called her.
Ouch. Blamed her for everything. Adam's fall, all the sin in the world, even, like, Christ's death somehow.
Yeah, and that kind of thinking, it had a huge impact for centuries. How women were viewed, treated, it all went downhill from there.
Makes you wonder how much that is still lingering around. You know?
Oh, for sure. Some of those ideas are deeply ingrained.
Okay, so this is where Jesse Lee Peterson comes in. Now, I'm just putting it out there. He's got some, shall we say, strong opinions. But I think he's onto something when he talks about how dangerous female influence can be and how important it is for men to be, you know, in charge.
Yeah, he's definitely not afraid to ruffle some feathers with that.
Understatement. But, I mean, he's basically saying women were created to support men, and Eve, back in the garden, she proves his point, right? That natural inclination towards evil. Got to keep that in check.
He really believes that, yeah. And he even says, I'm quoting here, the woman is the man's God because Adam, he listened to Eve instead of God.
Whoa. No, that's a statement.
No kidding. Really gets to the heart of his whole argument.
Right. Like by giving in to Eve, Adam messed up the whole order of things.
Exactly. Disrupted the hierarchy. And in Peterson's view, that's where all the problems stem from.
Man, that's a lot to chew on.
It is. And we're just getting started. And, you know, it's like when you look around today, right, it's like Peterson's got a point, single moms, all this radical feminism stuff.
Yeah. Family's falling apart. It's like echoes of Eve, you know.
It's like that one bad choice way back when just keeps rippling through time.
Exactly. And this whole knowledge thing, right. Peterson's saying knowledge, especially for women, it can be dangerous.
Dangerous how?
Like it upsets the balance, creates chaos.
So he's saying, like, ignorance is bliss, we're better off not knowing stuff.
Well, it's a thought, isn't it? I mean, look around, everyone's so stressed, so much information overload.
Yeah, always got to be in the know, checking the news, social media, it's exhausting.
Right. And for what? Are we actually happier with all this knowledge?
It's like we're chasing something, but we never actually catch it.
Exactly. Always wanting more, but never satisfied.
So Peterson's saying, go back to basics. Men in charge, women supporting them. Everyone knows their place.
Yeah, it's like a simpler time, maybe. Less room for all this chaos.
But wait, so are we supposed to just, like, stop learning things, go back to the Dark Ages? No, it's not about that. It's about being careful what we learn, how we let it affect us.
Oh.
Knowledge, it can be a good thing, but it can also be a weapon, you know?
Yeah, like too much of a good thing.
Exactly. It's about not getting arrogant, thinking we can control everything just because we know a lot.
Humility, right?
Yeah.
Knowing our place.
Exactly. That's where faith comes in, too. Trusting in something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, not anti-knowledge, just like careful with it.
Right.
Respectful.
Right. Knowing our limits. Because true freedom, it doesn't come from knowing more and more.
Huh. That's interesting. What does it come from then?
It comes from letting go, surrendering to something bigger, embracing the mystery.
Oh, that's deep.
It is. And it's a hard thing to do in today's world, right? We're always told to strive, achieve, know everything.
Yeah, like if you don't know, you're falling behind.
But think about it. All this information, all this striving, is it actually making us happy?
I know. Good point. Sometimes it feels like the more I know, the more I worry about.
Exactly. It's like a never-ending treadmill. Run, but you never actually get anywhere.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor.
And maybe the key to happiness is stepping off that treadmill.
Stepping off. But how?
By embracing nescience, accepting that not knowing is okay.
Nescience. That's like the opposite of knowledge, right?
It is, and it can be incredibly freeing, letting go of the need to know everything, to control everything.
Huh. That's a radical idea, but I kind of like it.
It is radical, but think about it. How much lighter would we feel if we weren't carrying the weight of all that knowledge?
Yeah, like less pressure.
Exactly. Less pressure, less anxiety, more room for joy, for wonder, for just being...
Okay, so nescience sounds great in theory, but like, how do we actually do that? In the real world, I mean.
Right, good question. It's not like we can just, poof, erase everything we know.
Yeah, exactly. And even if we could, would we even want to?
Well, maybe not everything, but I think it starts with, like, noticing where we're getting bogged down, where knowledge isn't actually helping us.
Give me an example.
Social media. Classic one, right? Endless scrolling, all this information, but does it really make us feel better?
No, most of the time it just makes me feel anxious, honestly.
Right, like, you're not good enough, not doing enough, gotta keep up with everyone.
Totally. Addicted to the notifications, but never actually satisfied.
Exactly, and the more we focus on that stuff, the less we have for what really matters.
So like actual relationships, real life experiences.
Exactly. So maybe nescience isn't about being totally clueless, it's about being choosy.
Choosy.
Yeah, like what knowledge is worth having, what actually serves us.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So not rejecting technology, but being more mindful about it.
Right. Setting boundaries, making time for things that nourish us, not just drain us.
You know, it's funny, we think we're so advanced, but maybe our ancestors had it right.
In some ways, yeah. They lived closer to nature, respected the rhythms of life, knew there were things they couldn't control.
And they weren't constantly bombarded with information.
Exactly. Makes you wonder, has all this knowledge actually made us happier?
Tough question. Maybe not always.
Right. So maybe the answer isn't knowing more, it's knowing how to be with the not knowing.
To be comfortable with uncertainty.
Exactly. Embrace the mystery. Find peace in the questions themselves.
Wow, that's a powerful thought.
It is. And it can change everything. How we see the world, how we live our lives.
Well, listeners, I think we've given you all a lot to think about today.
We have, from Adam and Eve to Jesse Lee Peterson to this whole idea of nescience.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It has. But I think the main takeaway is this. Knowledge is powerful, but it's not the only path.
Right, there's wisdom in letting go and admitting we don't know everything.
Exactly. And maybe in that space of not knowing, we find something even greater. Peace, contentment, a deeper connection to something bigger than ourselves.
So to our listeners, what can you let go of? What knowledge is holding you back? Think about it. And until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, but don't be afraid to embrace the mystery.